Hello, students. So I wanted to introduce you to our first paper. So the way that I'm looking at this is I want to look at our first assignment sheet. So in modules, under paper one, assignment sheet one, um, for whatever reason, even though they're supposed to open in a new window, it always opens up a new window. So what I normally do is I right click on the ones that are links and click open link in new tab or new window. So this is our assignment sheet. So paper number one is a rhetorical analysis of a documentary film. I'm asking you to write 1,200 words, and I'm asking you to use MLA documentation. Any source that you include needs to be in a works cited page. So at minimum, you need to include the documentary on your works cited page. And there's an MLA video later in the course under our next paper. But for now, you have your book has some MLA resources, and also this Purdue OWL guide will help you do just some of the basics. One of the things that I think is really helpful in here is they have this sample paper to help you look at what a paper looks like. And so it shows you the 1-inch margins, all of this stuff. So this, at minimum, this is helpful for paper number one. And then also basic sources. So other common sources here is how to cite a film or a movie. So those are probably the two basic things you need for MLA. That's what I'm going to be looking for. I'm not going to be looking too deeply at MLA here, but I want to know that you know how a paper looks. So the sample paper is helpful, and then how to at least start the citations. But the big thing here is that your job is to do a rhetorical analysis of a documentary film. So documentaries are meant to, quote, document reality, and they use a variety of techniques, images, words, sounds, interviews, to present an argument. So what I'm asking you to do is view one of the documentary films below and analyze the rhetorical strategies employed by the filmmaker to construct the film's argument. You will be asked to recognize and evaluate the film's appeals to pathos, logos, and ethos. Instead of talking about what you liked or disliked, or if you agreed or disagreed with the argument the film makes, your job is to think about the technique they use, how it's composed, and how it's put together rhetorically. You may choose any of the following documentaries. They're all pretty recent, and that's why I ask you to pick those. If there's something else that you want to write about, you need to send me an email to OK it ASAP. For me, these are ones that I've viewed, and I think that they would be appropriate for a rhetorical analysis. So if you have a good idea as well, shoot me an email. Not all of them, not all documentaries are appropriate for rhetorical analysis, but some do. So your essay should have two parts. A description of the rhetorical situation of your documentary and an analysis of the rhetorical proofs. So ethos, pathos, and logos. I tell students that the analysis of rhetorical proofs should take up more paper, more space in the paper than the description of the rhetorical situation. So the rhetorical situation, you're going to do some discussion boards about it, but it describes, this might need you to do some research here. And I talk about that later in the rhetorical situation video. But it describes basically the background and the exigence or the reason that the documentary was composed. The author, the audience, the purpose, sometimes the history behind the issue. And this I want you to do in at least 1 to 2 paragraphs at the beginning of the essay. So I give an example here. Let's say I'm writing on Barack Obama's Bloody Sunday speech. In the weeks leading up to the speech, Rudy Giuliani exclaimed, "Obama doesn't love America." The speech redefines American patriotism to include people that fought for their rights, like the 600 people at Selma on Bloody Sunday. For me, describing that rhetorical situation would include thinking about Obama's speech as a response to Rudy Giuliani in some way, right? So that might be part of the rhetorical situation if I was analyzing Barack Obama's speech. The next part is an analysis of the rhetorical proofs. So each appeal, if I were you, I would at least write one paragraph on each of these rhetorical appeals. Ethos, pathos, and logos. So here's your paragraph on ethos. Your job in that paragraph is to identify appeals, identify these. So here are like 2 examples of appeals to ethos in my documentary. Analyze these, describe how they're working within the rhetorical situation and why they work, and then evaluate them. How good are they working? And so you're going to do that for each ethos, pathos, and logos. Now I realize that most of your documentary films have, tens of hundreds of appeals to ethos, pathos, and logos there. So I ask students to pick at least 2 from each of those. You do not have to worry about giving us every detail of your documentary, but you do have to kind of be able to say, in Blackfish, the interview with the oceanographer is an appeal to ethos for this reason, right? And then be able to describe it and talk about, and then give at least another example to ethos. And then also part of that is use concrete details to support your claims. So consider quoting directly from your documentary under analysis or using detailed language to describe the scenes, interviews, texts. Think through how your author uses visuals, evidence, music, storytelling, etc., using these things rhetorically to get their message heard. So you're going to be evaluated on your ability to identify, evaluate, and analyze your documentary's ethos, pathos, and logos in respect to your rhetorical situation. So I'll have an example and a rubric posted up there. The sample paper will give you a good idea of what I'm looking for, but it's not something to follow to the T. The rubric is exactly what I use to grade the final version of the paper. So, and then there's other videos in this unit that kind of help go over the nuts and bolts of rhetorical analysis and ethos, pathos, and logos. So, all right, good luck. Thanks.